been talking with my students a lot about different types of paper and substrates for painting. So a substrate is just a surface that you can paint on or draw on. And regular copy paper that's very thin, kind of like the paper in my sketchbook here, works really well for drawings and getting ideas down, so that you can have a lot of paper and ideas down in one space, right? So that's really great. But once it comes to painting, there's a lot of liquid in paint, so that thin paper doesn't hold too well. So you need something that's a little thicker. So you can either use mixed media paper, which is paper that has kind of like a plasticky coating on it to help it not to get too soggy. For watercolor, of course, the best thing to use for watercolor paints is watercolor paper, because a lot of times the really fancy watercolor paper is going to have cotton in it, so it's going to absorb those colors in just the most magical way possible. But when it comes to acrylic and liquid tempera paints, there's a surface that you can use. It's actually totally free. So I've got these nice pieces of cardboard here that have come from food. So you can see some strawberry crunch bars, a fruit roll-ups. I think this was a quiche. And those just came from things I ordered. And here you can see we've got different surfaces on there. So it's kind of interesting. You can play around with using different kinds of paints and seeing what happens and really learn a lot and make some beautiful pieces, like I said, with a substrate that's totally free. So here, this board has this like brown craft paper color, which I actually kind of really like to start on like a different color sometimes. If you're wanting like a bright white background, this can be good. And I noticed that this one has like a glossy surface. So that could be really interesting, actually. It might not absorb watercolors in the way that traditional watercolor paper will. It definitely, and it'll probably kind of move the colors around, but that could be kind of interesting. And then this one, actually, when I touch it and take a closer look, it looks like it might be kind of absorbent. So it's not like you want to put a lot of puddles of water on here, but they'll handle it much better than the thinner copy paper. So I want to show you with my cereal box here how you can make your own really nice substrates with something free, like a cereal box. So you're just going to open both sides. And the parts that you're trying to use are the big rectangular parts. So you don't have to worry about keeping this super neat. You just want to make sure that you keep this nice big rectangle nice and this nice big rectangle nice. So here we've opened it on both sides. Now we're going to try to find where it's connecting. So it's usually one big piece that's been cut and glued together in one spot here. And I found that spot, and I can kind of drag along here and boom, I got it open. So these are the two rectangles I need. I can help myself out by folding this out like this, just to make sure that I can get to the rectangles I need. And you're going to want to try your hardest to be as neat as you can with this. You might like that kind of little ridge to be there on the edge, so then you're going to cut a little bit to the side of it. But if you want that ridge to not be there, then you can use it as a guide and cut right to the inside of it. It's definitely a time where I don't want to be looking around somewhere else. I want to kind of hold my scissors steady, pay close attention. So I'm pretty happy with that cut. I'm going to go ahead, cut this other side off. If it feels like you're getting a lot of resistance here, whatever, just get out your scissors, come back around in a way that feels more comfortable here. Like this cut is a little more sloppy. I don't really like what happened here, so I'm going to see if I can go back very carefully and kind of neaten that up. Yeah, I think I'm more satisfied with that. Now, while you're painting, if you know that your edges are not perfect and then you might want to see if your teacher can chop it later, then you just want to make sure you paint really toward the center of the box. But I'm really happy with this. So this is a nice rectangle that I can use for free. And if you want to add something that's a little bit costly, but not as expensive as getting a whole canvas, you can add gesso on top of this surface. You can get it as clear. There's white gesso, and basically it'll get your surface ready for paint to not damage it too much. I've even found something called watercolor ground. It's a little bit expensive, but I'm testing it out to see if it works well to paint watercolor on it before I get some for the art room. So we'll see how that goes. So look around in your house. Once you're done with a cereal or any other snacks that you have around that are in a box, go ahead and open that box and see if you can find some beautiful substrates that you can use to paint on for free.